I'm very nervous.
You can clearly see the reaction here. We'll do a we'll do a short Q&A because of the time. We have to wrap up fast. So we'll just do a quick Q&A and then you guys can connect on Instagram or whatever. Okay, so my first question is to Anurag. And it's about the conception of this film. It's first of all, I want to say that he started his career with Satya, and I think this has come to full circle. Bombay-based films like Black Friday and Ugly and Raman Raghav. So it's just like pushing the envelope further and further. So I'm very curious to know how you wrote this whole thing. How did it come to your mind, and what was the writing process?
The film is dedicated to Sudhir Mishra. So Uday Shetty as a character has stayed in my head for close to 20 years. So 20 years back, Sudhir hired me to write a film which did not take off, which had Sanjay Dutt and Tejaswini Kolhapure, who was also in the audience there. That film we shot for one day and then for some reason it stopped. And I was writing that film, and he used to talk about this cop called Uday Shetty from the 80s who actually existed. We have not even changed the name. So it was that Uday Shetty stayed in my head, and Uday Shetty haunted me for the longest time. And I tried to sell the concept to many people that make a film about this character. But there was no situation. How do you use a man like this who was a ghost in the system, who would kill people and was haunted by the guilt and would collect a ring or a watch and separate it from the family. So that character is based on a real character. He stayed with me, and then things that happened in the lockdown, and it was a combination of anger and depression and frustration of not being able to do what you want to. All those things combined with the events that were being reported in the papers, I said this is the correct place to take Uday Shetty from the 80s and put him in the lockdown. So I took Uday Shetty, which existed in my head, and I finally put him in the lockdown, and I was locked in the house. I was listening to Tchaikovsky. And I wrote non-stop for 2 days with my whiskey and whiskey water.
So now we all know the secret to writing 2 days, whiskey and Tchaikovsky. And
Tchaikovsky was written into the script.
Okay.
And I to bounce off the script because I had just finished shooting Dobara and the character was in my head. So during the shoot of Dobara, I would sit and generally bounce it off him. I was not thinking of Rahul, but I would bounce off the character of him. And when I wrote the script also, I sent it to him, bouncing it off him, never telling him that what actor I have in mind. So
yeah, like about, of course we'll get to the actors, but the music was something that was haunting, you know. Tchaikovsky for the first time in Bollywood, on a Hindi cinema, you know.
Yeah, but we also recorded. We spent everything that we could.
And you also have Amir's poetry.
Yes.
And so do you think of music at the writing stage? Does it come at the edit stage?
No,
play when you're
I
shooting?
could not do the music I wanted to do because of rights issues and things like that. And that was the pandemic, and I heard Amir on YouTube. And he wrote Sab Yaad Rakha Jayega. And I just wanted to meet Amir. And I met him. And the first song that you hear in the film, Tera Mehboob Mara Gaya, is something Amir wrote as a very personal piece, as a love song for himself. And he played that on the guitar, and I died. I was there, and I said, and Amir was reluctant as usual. He was reluctant. He didn't want to. He said, I'm a poet, I'm not a singer, I'm not a composer. I don't know whether I can do it or not. But I kept pushing him. And then I met my niece, my friend's daughter. One day I was coming back from the shoot. She's also here somewhere. And she was playing some music that her friend had made, which is Boy Blank. Huh? And I suddenly I was sleeping and I woke up and like, क्या बजा रही थी? इसने मेरे दोस्त का है. And I said, I want to hear him. And next suddenly I said, I want to meet this guy. And we spoke to each other. And I said, she told him and he didn't believe it. Then I called him. Then I had to speak to him because he's 20 years old. I had to speak to his parents on a video call to convince them it is me. They said, he's a छोड़ के कैसे आएगा? He said, we'll take care of him. I said, I'll take care of him. So both Amir and him stayed in my house jamming for 6 months. So he was also earlier writing songs about teenage angst, but spending time with Amir, he also grew up. Amir also found himself. I think what happened between them only Amir and Boy Blank can tell you, because I was shooting and I was doing things, and they kept coming up with songs. First song, which was beautiful, but I still rejected. I said, it doesn't belong to the film. Second, from third song onwards, we started picking it up, and then it just went in a direction that didn't stop. There's so many songs they've done which are not. Yeah, they just could not stop. And I think somewhere it was a journey for them as well. And for the film, we found the sound. And then Ashish also came in, Ashish Narula, who brought together his bunch of people because they're both first timers, and he was like, he brought in his band of musicians who played the things and the composition, engineering, everything happened. It just took a time. It took around, I think, more than a year and a half. And when we were doing that, and then I was like very hell-bent on however much money we have saved, whatever happens, I want to record with a proper, I don't know how many piece orchestra was there? 100 piece orchestra. In Prague, we've tried to find costs everywhere else, very expensive. Then we went to Prague. Adam Clements is the man who has done Rise of the Planet of Apes and things like that. We've somehow found him. He went to Prague, and I went there. Nobody else got the visa, so I was the only one there. Everybody else was on video call. And we spent time there. And I walked into that room and we were suddenly like, oh my god, this is all the Hans Zimmer composition up there. Everything is there. And we were like, which room I am in, what kind of people I'm working with. And that's how the music is. So it came in there with a lot of trap and things and actual 100-piece Philharmonic orchestra. And it took a lot.
My next question is to the actors. I think